Hey big brains, when you hear about the discovery of the United States, you probably think of Christopher Columbus, right? Well, that's not the full story. Today, we're going to uncover the real history of who found America first. And trust me, it's way more interesting than you think. Let's start with Columbus. In 1492, Columbus set sail from Spain with 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. He was trying to find a faster route to Asia, but instead he landed in the Bahamas, not North America. Columbus thought he had found India, so he called the people he met Indians. He didn't even know he'd stumbled onto a whole new continent. But here's the big twist. Columbus wasn't the first person to reach the Americas. In fact, people had been living here for thousands of years before he was even born. Native American tribes like the Navajo, Cherokee, and Sioux had rich cultures, languages, and traditions all across the land we now call the United States. They were the first Americans, and their civilization stretched from the forests of the East Coast to the deserts of the Southwest. Then there's another name you might not have heard, Leif Erikson. He was a Viking explorer from Iceland, and about 500 years before Columbus, he sailed across the Atlantic Ocean and landed in a place he called Vinland, which historians now believe was somewhere in Canada. So technically, the Vikings were the first Europeans to reach North America. After Columbus came, European explorers started showing up everywhere. The Spanish explored the south and west, the French explored the north, and the English settled along the east coast. In 1607, the English built Jamestown, Virginia, the first permanent English settlement in America. That's when people from Europe began moving here in larger numbers, building towns and starting a brand new chapter in history. But it's important to remember, these lands were already full of people, stories, and traditions. Native Americans had their own governments, cities, and trade networks long before anyone from Europe arrived. So the story of discovering America isn't just about explorers. It's about the blending, and often clashing, of many different cultures coming together over time. So, who really discovered the United States? The truth is, nobody discovered it, because it was already home to millions of people. Columbus and the Vikings were part of the story, but the real history of America started with the people who were already here. It's a story about exploration, adventure, and connection. And it reminds us that history isn't always simple, but it's always worth exploring with our big brains.